Hi guys, welcome back to the show. A very quick intro segment today because I've got a very exciting clip. This is exclusive footage I've actually got from out in the wild of Chaos Fragrances, Gent Sense and Jeremy Fragrance fishing for compliments. Don't forget, people, if you want to buy fragrance samples in the USA, Canada or Puerto Rico, go to myfragrancesamples.com and use my code MR15, gets you 15% off. Link in the description. Don't miss it. Hi guys, welcome back to the show. Today we're going to talk about my top 6 fragrances from Yves Saint Laurent. Yves Saint Laurent, an amazing fragrance house with a great history of masculine fragrances. I'm going to do my top 6 today. Let me know what you think of them down in the comments down below. Let's get stuck into it. So, a great house with a great history. Recently, absolutely pumping out tons of fragrances. You know, you've got all these L'Homme Electrique, La Nuit, L'Homme flankers of La Nuit de l'Homme and L'Homme. And I can't keep up with them, to be honest with you. You had that other fragrance called Y and Y Eau de Parfum. A lot of other channels do talk about those. Nothing about any of these so far has really captured my imagination. So some more old choices for you guys here, as you may have predicted. But let's start off with a modern classic. I think we can call it this. I've got to include in the list La Nuit de l'Homme, the former favourite fragrance of the wonderful Jeremy Fragrance. And it is a nice concoction, actually. It's got 3 perfumers, Anne Filippo, Pierre Voigny and Dominique Ropion. How does that work? 3 people to make a fragrance? Surely too many cooks spoil the broth. How does this work? I don't know. Does one pick the lavender? I don't know how that works. Anyhow. I mean, if you write a song, one person does the lyrics, one does the music, like Elton John. I get it, but I don't get how that works in a fragrance. Anyhow, note listing for this one. You've got cardamom, lavender, cedar, bergamot, vetiver, and coumarin. It doesn't really smell... Maybe you pick up on the lavender. Somebody said it smells like Diet Coke or Coca-Cola once in a disparaging YouTube review, Fragrantica review. I really think it's a nice, spicy, sweet, creamy, comforting fragrance. Very wearable. Subtle in performance nowadays with the modern formula, but it is a modern classic. It's a sexy date night fragrance, if you like. It's just a real versatile, good fragrance. Great for the winter time, great for the autumn. If you want something really fresh in the spring and summer, might not be your go-to choice, but I do think it's a great fragrance. Really good modern release. And it had a wonderful advert with Vincent Cassel, which I thought was really charming and made me like it even more. So I've got to give it to this one. I'm not going to include L'Homme or any of these other really modern ones. I'm sorry, guys, but hopefully you'll enjoy my other selections. Okay, let's move on to my next one, going right back to the first masculine release from the house, Yves Saint Laurent Pour Homme, first released in 1971. This is an amazing... I think it's described as a woody aromatic. It's got citrus aromatic qualities in the opening, almost some aromatic fougere type feels. It's very difficult to classify, but it's a lovely, fresh, gentlemanly fragrance. Your note listing at the moment on Fragrantica for the La Collection Square Bottle series, very simple. Amalfi lemon, citruses, petitgrain, mint, oak moss, and patchouli. Now, this is the hardest one to get here. I've got an old vintage bottle. The La Collection series had it in a cube black bottle. That's discontinued, and I've now seen it going for silly prices, whereas 2 or 3 years ago, it was a real kind of discount fragrance on your Notino. So sorry if that's annoying for you guys, but if you really search, you probably can pick up a vintage bottle. My old vintage one stood up great. It's a really beautiful, zesty, fresh opening. Beautiful kind of herbaceous tones. Feels like there's a lot more going on in there than the mint, which I don't even pick up on specifically. And then this great oak moss, masculine, woody, base and dry down. Absolutely splendid stuff. This would have been their answer to Dior's Eau Sauvage, to Chanel's Pour Monsieur in the old days when fragrance houses maybe only had one masculine fragrance. It's an absolute banger. Apparently the La Collection version was still really good compared to this vintage style bottle. So if you can find it, go ahead and pick up YSL Pour Homme, an absolute classic if you like your old school gentlemanly fragrances. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoy this video and the kind of videos I bring to the YouTube fragrance community, please do subscribe to the channel. It helps me a lot, and it means that you won't miss other stuff that I put out there. Let's move on then. We'll fast forward a few years, but still it's back in the midst of time for many of you viewers. Jazz from Yves Saint Laurent, 1988 release, and what a great release it was. Your perfumer for this one, Jean-François Latti. Now this was the old vintage style bottle. There used to be one with a sort of ceramic white look, and you can still pick up online the square or cube La Collection series bottle. So you can still get this. I have a feeling it may have actually been discontinued, so you may be getting the last stock, but I don't want to annoy too many viewers. So you can still pick this one up for reasonable prices online. Incredibly long note listing. Let's go for it. So Jean-Francois Latti, perfumer. Note listing, here we go. Lavender, nutmeg, coriander, artemisia, anise, basil, bergamot, cinnamon, cardamom, geranium, carnation, jasmine, iris, oak moss, tobacco leather, sandalwood, cedar, musk, amber, tonka bean. Okay, so this one has this kind of fresh, kind of citrus, woody feel, very, very pleasant. This one less citrusy, a little bit more, I think it's called an aromatic woody, feels very similar to a Fougere fragrance, often compared to Ralph Lauren Safari, which is a great fragrance, and a very, very beautiful fragrance. Again, from what I've tried, the La Collection cube bottle, still very, very good. So a really, really beautiful classic, dressed up again, kind of grown-up masculine fragrance. A fresh opening, but not so citrusy. That lovely twist of anise, that kind of licorice-esque note that we get in some kind of barbershop fragrances. A little bit of leather, a bit of sandalwood, a little bit of darkness in the base, and an absolutely beautiful dry down. So if you're looking for something gentlemanly for sort of autumn, winter time, I think this stands up really well. Nice performance on my vintage bottle. YSL Pour Homme, similar vibe, but maybe a little fresher, more spring, summertime, maybe. But these are all very versatile in terms of when you can wear them. Very, very classy, very grown-up juice. Jazz, amazing release from YSL. Okay, next up, another one that's going back a few years, but you can still pick this up, at least in the eau de toilette form. This is Opium from 1995, an amazing release. Jacques Cavalier, the perfumer. Note dominant on my tester bottle here. This is the eau de parfum. The notes, I think, pretty much similar, and it's one of those where the eau de parfum, which I think is now discontinued, is very much an eau de parfum, just a stronger feeling concentration, a denser version of the same smell. So I don't think you'll be too let down with the eau de toilette version if you get that. I do have the vintage eau de parfum here. So 1995, notes are pepper, star anise, blackcurrant, galanga, whatever that is, bourbon vanilla, tolu balsam, and atlas cedar. So I've got the notes on the back of this thing. Did I put the Sichuan pepper, if you care about the type of pepper, and it's bourbon vanilla. This is a beautiful oriental fragrance, very rich, very intoxicating. It's kind of blackcurrant, dried fruit thing with vanilla, and a sort of slightly exotic, almost, let's say, narcotic vibe about this one. Very rich, very sort of, you know, it makes me think of like a dark purple colour would be the colour of this fragrance, you know, whether this one is a kind of bright yellow green colour or whatever, you know. It's a really amazing, exotic, rich, oriental masculine fragrance. And, you know, it's got real guts and balls. We don't get ballsy fragrances like this so much anymore. Opium Pour Homme, fantastic stuff from 1995. Okay, guys, so just a couple more left to do here. And the next one I'm going to highlight is RIVE GAUCHE Pour Homme. Again, I'm really sorry, this one is discontinued. 2003 release. You may still find the La Collection version in the cube bottle, but they're getting very hard and a bit expensive. This is the ultimate barbershop fragrance. If you can't find this, not sponsored here, the people I would go to is Dua Fragrances River Fougere. It is a bang-on copy. I forgot to grab my bottle. A bang-on, incredibly accurate copy. River Fougere, Dua Fragrances. It smells the same. So you've got star anise, rosemary, bergamot, lavender, geranium, cloves, coumarin, patchouli, oak moss, vetiver, and gaiac wood. It smells like a really upscale shaving foam, the best shaving foam ever. Bit similar, in my view, to Brutes from Fabergé, but better, classier, more refined. Similarities also many people draw with Azzaro Pour Homme. This little twist again of that anise licorice thing with lavender. An amazing, the ultimate, really beautiful spick and span barbershop fragrance. Absolutely stunning release. Tom Ford, creative director there when they released this, and he had some great stuff under his stewardship at Yves Saint Laurent. Rive GAUCHE Pour Homme. Check it out if you can get an old bottle, or the Dua version will do you fine. Finally then, we had to include it, didn't we? Kouros, Pierre Bourdon's amazing 1981 creation, the ultimate powerhouse 80s fragrance. Note listing is like everything but the kitchen sink. It's fresh, it's soapy. Some people talk about a urinal cake vibe or a pissy thing. It has animalic notes. It has a chemical, I think it's called animalis or something. It has this deliberately sexy smell that's like the smell of your bed sheets after sex, mixed with a clean, fresh smell. Loads of herbal tones, sweet things in there. I think there's honey in there. Everything going on in here, but masterfully blended for this ultimate testosterone, masculine, 80s, in-your-face powerhouse fragrance. If you can get a vintage bottle, great. They still make the modern one, I think. Let's hope so. And it's still, you know, it still will do most of what I've described there. It's just a bit more so in the vintage. So guys, I know, I don't like the YSL Y-line or the L'Homme. Most of the flankers don't interest me. At least I included La Nuit de l'Homme. Let me know what you think of that in the comments down below. I will see you in the next video. Remember, whatever you're doing in life, let's project. And sometimes life may stink, but we can always smell good. Guys, please join my Patreon group if you'd like to offer me a little bit of support. There's a link in the description. It gives you an extra video every week. Love to see you in there. For you guys here, as you may have predicted, but let's start off with a modern classic.